Frank the Pest Geek here. Turn down this AC just a little bit because it's kind of noisy. Um, just grabbed lunch. I'm on the road today because two houses been calling where the tech has been out there. One, we did the initial service over a year ago, and we got it done. We solved the American roach problem. They had an ant problem. They had a carpenter ant problem. They had a couple of different problems. We solved it, and they suspended services. And after 6 months, they called us again. Hey, they're getting an ant problem, so we do a one-time service, solve the ant problem. Finally, they're calling us, hey, we got American roach problem again. So I said, listen, you got to get on a program. We can't solve all of these problems. And here is all of the major problems we have with American roaches, usually. These are both American roach problems. Are usually because of the age of the home and remodeling or construction that was done incorrectly, allowing pests to get in, because contractors, roofers, remodelers, guys flipping homes, they're not pest control experts. They are construction people. They have a specialty, and I'm going to show you one of these. Is they did an entire roof on the house, and when they put the new lip over it on the facial lip, underneath here, this was a stucco home which has a curve on it, and the stucco now and the wire, you can see the mesh coming out. I can literally, in most places, get my hand completely around that. Well, every roach is getting into the attic now through there, and it's around the entire front and side, and then around the entire back. My tech was already out there. We had done the initial. We got control. I go in and I find gel bait everywhere. Well, it turns out they had hired a contractor to do the kitchen, and the contractor decided he's going to be a pest control guy. And he starts putting gel bait all over the place. So I get there and I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, my tech, what did you do? There's gel bait everywhere. Turns out the guy says, oh, that wasn't your guy. That was the contractor I hired when we did the kitchen. He put bait all over. I mean, thank God the guy was honest, because I was getting ready to pick up the phone and call my tech and like, dude, what did you do? He says, bro, that isn't mine. I said, you didn't document it. You didn't take any pictures and show all that gel bait all over the place to cover your butt. What if the guy would have said, no, your guy did all this and I want, all this cleaned out, and I want a free service, and I want this and I want that. You see, a couple of issues happen here. The guy we did the initial, we got control. He had holes everywhere in that kitchen. We got video to show you where all the holes are. They got fixed. The garage door is right there near the kitchen, and it hasn't gotten fixed. There's no sweep on there. So we've got all this house flipping going on, and all these remodelers doing all this. I said, did you buy this house flipped? And he said, yeah. The guy bought it, flipped it, repaired it, and he says, you should have seen it before, though. When they were doing all this work, it was just terrible. So all of these old homes, these are 50s homes with all this remodeling done, and nothing's been sealed. Crawl space door isn't right. So what I'm going in is I'm trying to get my tech to understand that, look, if you've done all the work, and part of this is experience and expertise. There's no way that a tech in his first year, who's never had any experience in construction, has no experience in remodeling, has been doing the work for a year or two, is going to be able to spot a lot of these problems when nobody's pointed it out to him. So this is why now I'm here having lunch. I went in and did the inspection. I did my videos. I'm waiting for him. Let me see if that's him to come back. No. To come so I can physically show him and walk him around and say, so now to meet with him on the property and show him what he missed. he would have never caught this. Unless I sit him there and I point it out to him and show him everywhere there's a problem, he would have not seen it. The owner didn't notice it. The contractor obviously did it and didn't understand what he's doing, that he's allowing all these pests in, because he's thinking water is never going to get under there. It's like this, and the gap is right here, and water is never going to go underneath and go under there. Roofers are not pest control experts. Neither are contractors. And in both cases of these, construction was done in the other house. They built this overhang, outside little patio, and they built an overhang, and they basically cut open the soffit, and they installed the rafters for the new overhang into the old ones, but they didn't seal properly, and they created a box. Well, the box has gaps in them because it's tongue and groove, and the tongue and groove's gotten damaged, and there's termite damage, and all the roaches are getting in through this 20-foot piece in the back, where we can see the roaches all over the floor inside the patio. Behind the door, behind the wall on the other side, this is block construction. They did the kitchen is a original kitchen from the 1950s. There's a name for it now. I just lost. Stick built. It's a stick built kitchen. Literally, there is no drywall. There is no masonry. There's nothing. Here is the kitchen. Here's the furring strips, and here's the block. The roaches are actually coming over that roof, down the wall, and behind, coming out through all of the kitchen, because I got video that I've shot my little camera in the back, and I got a camera that we can stick through a hole and figure out what's back there. All the roaches are just finding their way out through all the bottom of the kitchen and everywhere because it's not sealed. So I said there has to be an entry point on the other side of this wall somewhere where all of a sudden there's 26. She literally counted 26 roaches in one day. They picked them all up. She started spraying right inside the cabinet because what happens is all of a sudden there's a weather. It's dry. American roaches, if it's really, really dry, for some reason they start coming inside. And if it's really, really wet, they start coming inside. It's just a weird thing about how American roaches behave. Well, they've only lived in this house for less than a year now. There are still holes everywhere that have to be fixed. The air conditioning closet hasn't been fixed. They did it, and it's being held up by 2x4s. And I said, you literally need to remove this whole unit, have this wall fixed, put the unit back. Well, it isn't going to happen. We're going to have to find a way now to seal that because American roaches are still coming. So we can treat this all we want. We can spray all we want. We can bait all we want. And the customer is still going to have a pest experience. And what customer has to understand, the technician has to understand, is that chemical is not control. Chemical is a tool. The customer is looking for a zero roach experience. There is no company on the planet that's going to deliver a zero roach experience when the front door literally is left open and everybody can just walk in. There is holes still everywhere that I said originally. What happens is they're millennials. He's a computer IT guy. He's not handy. She's a woman and she's not handy. And they have to pay a contractor to do everything because they don't know how to do it. A year later, that closet still has not been repaired. Not been done after a year. The holes that I originally told them to fix hasn't been done. None of the things, the shoddy work that was done in that kitchen, they took the stick-built kitchen, put a new countertop, put a new backsplash on it, repainted the front, and they flipped the house. This was not them. And this is what's happening with flippers. They're doing all kinds of things, and people don't understand what they're going to buying when they're buying this house. I said, did you do a termite inspection? There's termite damage. I don't know if it's old. I couldn't find any live termites, but in one of the rooms there was activity that had fallen down. We don't know if there's new activity there or not. So all of these things, as a pest control professional, You're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to be, as an owner, hiring new technicians. This is where the thing, do I hire a guy with a ton of experience and then he literally wants to run the company, or he's not trainable and he's not retrainable to do things in a whole new way because he was taught to just spray and pray? And then how much experience does he have? Because 25 years of doing it wrong or doing it the way it was done 25 years ago isn't new experience. If your skills have not been upgraded, you're obsolete. You're a dinosaur. If you're not willing to do IPM and sealing, and I went into the kitchen and I pulled a little cap, and the cap was so tight you couldn't move it. I looked, peeled it behind, got my face up there, went like that and looked and saw where the gaps are. Well, they're there because the cabinet is separated from the drywall, and the hole is in the drywall, not in the cabinet. They're getting in from behind. Unless we seal, he's always going to have a roach experience. And what I'm looking for the client, what my clients are wanting, what most clients are wanting, is eradication where they don't have the experience with the bug. No customer says, yeah, I'm willing to tolerate 5, 6, 7 American roaches a month. It just doesn't happen, folks. So what we got to do is, this is where I tell them, I said, the difference between you is you're in production mode. You're in there in task mode. I says, man, I've about given up on that house. I says, you should have got me involved if you weren't getting it controlled. They weren't getting it controlled. He didn't tell me about it. The customer didn't complain. So therefore, I didn't know about it. If nobody's complaining and they're going in and doing the routine, they're living with it and accepting it. And I told them, I said, there's no shame in you failing and telling me I'm not getting control. I need you involved. There's this thing that the stigma, and especially with Malayo, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to get written up. You got to get rid. You want to build a culture of people that are excellent, and you want to build a culture of people. You got to constantly reinforce that, but you got to back it up with action. The moment he calls you and says, man, I can't solve it, and you rip him a new one, you write him up, you're done with your culture. What did I do? I came over here. I called him on the phone, and I said, this is the problem. Here's what I found. I found all the places you missed. I found places you're never going to find. Why didn't you tell me that the customer, after 6 months, still hadn't replaced the door seal on that garage door? I said, if you tell a customer to do something and it isn't done, and it's been 3 services, we're going there every other month, and now it's been 6 months and it isn't done, you need to contact me and let me know so I can tell the client, listen, unless you fix this, you're going to live with it, or we're going to drop you as a client. But you have to build a culture with your people that you are there to coach and train. That is my job. Right now, when I go into these environments, it's about coaching. It's about looking this. I know you've never come across this. I cannot hold you responsible for things that you don't have care, custody, or control over. However, we can't say, well, the customer hasn't sealed and hasn't done anything, and therefore we can't do our job, because it's not always the case. But we have to know that if these are big problems, these are not, oh my God, there's a tiny little hole, and the tech is making, basically the tech is saying, I can't solve your roach because you got one little hole that you haven't sealed. Put a piece of tape over it, man. Put a piece of gum in it. I mean, I carry literally masking tape for holes on the wall that sometimes the contractors leave, and he can tape it over until he can get a contractor and temporarily do it, if we know that is a problem. But for most cases, this is not the problem. Put it over here. These are major issues. These are major construction problems that were caused by when the contractor did the work, didn't seal it, and therefore he doesn't know to tell you, hey, you need to seal this underneath or you're going to get roaches. Contractors, if you're listening to me, please learn integrated pest management, learn pest biology. If you could have sealed that and you would have done it, you would have saved the client a headache. You would have looked better. It would have been done. Oh my God, he's going to take the business away from you. By golly, I wish he would have. Because now I got to charge this client about $800 to do an exclusion job that he didn't need to do because somebody screwed up. And you're saying, well, but that's not your problem. Yeah, but our problem as salespeople and as contractors and as professionals is to understand and unintended consequences and do things right and be conscientious. My job is I'm pointing it out to them and saying, this is where your problem is. Here's the solution. Here's what it's going to cost. As a salesperson, that's my job now. I can't do anything. But if the contractor would have done his job right, so I gave one client some homework to do over the weekend. Said, go buy 6 tubes of brown caulk that wood all the way around where you caulk it really nice and tight, get it all sealed. That's going to take it. If he doesn't do it by next week, I'm saying, listen, I'm going to do it for you. It's going to cost you $250 because it's 2 hours worth of work. Because I charge $125 an hour for exclusion plus materials. Those are the options I'm giving my client. If the client doesn't do it, he won't pay me to do it. He won't do it. He won't get somebody else to do it. And he's going to complain about how we're not getting it effective. We drop him as a client because now we're going to look bad because, we can't do it. I'll refund them the money and we're done with it. So these are issues. We're going to be putting out a lot of these videos showing where the problems are to help you guys in the field solve the problems. Help the customer solve the problem. Show the video to the client. Take the video and say, look, my whole hand fits in there. It's going into the attic. So now we're going to do an attic treatment, which we generally do if we have a problem like this. The problem is the attic treatment, all the shelves in the bedroom have to be removed now to do the attic treatment because they've got it in the closet in the bedroom. There's shelves up and the shelves have to be removed. And my guy, is I think he's 6'1", 6'2", and he weighs 250 pounds, 290 pounds. He's a pretty big kid. How the heck is he going to get his body around there? So now I have to wait for him and see if he can't get in. I got to get in to do the attic treatment with bait. And we're going to use Entice 10, Mother Earth, and a Niban, also with Max Frost Complete. So we're getting whatever's up there, we're getting it treated. A lot of the time, one type of bait doesn't do it. I know Entice 10 does a good job and Niban does a good job for American Roach. We use a combination because we got so many other ants that we use a combination. Then we're going to use Max Frost Complete for a quick knockdown of what's in there. So that's the strategy. Watch the video. Check it out. Hey, folks, if this video has been helpful to you, do me a favor. Would you subscribe to the channel below? Give it a thumbs up. And share it with your friends. And also comment. If you comment, I try to respond to every comment. This is Frank the Pest Geek wishing you a pestacular day.